I'm Julie Lyverse, and I'm the art instructor, LPIE art instructor for 4th grade at Lafayette Elementary School. I do 6th grade core at Stanley, foreign language, and ELD at Stanley as well. But today we're going to do a 4th grade project, and we're doing safari animals. This project can be adapted for younger students or older, depending on their level of interest and skill. We're going to use things that you find around the house, and mostly aluminum foil, which is not something you use for art. We're going to create these safari animals, and then we're going to use construction paper and possibly printed patterns in the background to enhance, not create a scene, but to enhance and complement the artwork and the animal that we're creating. So what I'd like to do is go through our supply list so you have it all ready to go. First thing you're going to need is a Fine Point Sharpie. I think black works better. And the Fine Point's not that super tiny one. That's too sharp. Aluminum foil. Just tear off about a 10-inch piece. Keep it kind of flat. It doesn't matter whether you use the shiny side or the duller side. Either is fine. You're going to need a pencil, but you want one that's not very sharp. So definitely no mechanical pencils, please, or it will tear your aluminum foil. Masking tape, if you don't have that, Scotch tape is fine, and an animal image. So what I mean by that is we're going to look for animals that you would be found in a safari. We don't need a lot of detail on them, so your best resource is Googling sketches or drawings of safari animals. Right? They look relatively plain, but remember, we're going to enhance them a great deal. You could also have some that have trees in them, or water, or this lion, for example. I would not draw all the lines until you're using your Sharpie on your foil, right? Or something like a zebra. Please remember that's a lot of lines, but you don't have to put all those lines in there to make the zebra effective. So that's your animal image. I just got these right offline by Googling drawings of safari animals. Next, you're going to want a piece of cardboard or maybe a magazine, right? 8.5 by 11, 9 by 12, just to have something to push down on. Colored construction paper. You'll need color of your choice, one of the larger pieces, and then lots of little scraps, right? A glue stick, scissors, and if you've ever had me before, you know the #1 ingredient for any art project with me is a fun attitude. We're just going to have fun, give it our best, and I bet we'll have something beautiful turn out. So let's get started. All right, I'm going to come down here and I have my piece of aluminum foil. I have my animal image, and the first thing I want to do is tape it together, just so it doesn't move around and slide and I mess up my image. Then it's very important that you put the foil on the cardboard or a magazine so that when we push it will emboss or indent. And now what you're going to do is very slowly and patiently go over the lines of your animal, every line that you want to be in your picture. So you're basically going to redraw this slowly and patiently. And what I like to do when I'm doing this is maybe look for some African music online or listen to a story like how the zebra got his stripes. There's some great African stories that we can find while we do this. Before you go too far, take a peek and be sure that you can see the image of your animal there. All right, once you're sure you're pressing down hard enough and you can see it, you're going to continue until you've done your entire animal. And I've already done that, so let me show you what I've got here. It should look like this. Okay. So I can see it. I might have to move around a little to look at it, but I'm now going to take my Sharpie and again, take my time, listen to some music, and just start to go over all of my lines. So again, I'm sort of redrawing my animal, right? Now, I will have a tree in my image, so I also have a larger, thicker Sharpie. If you've got one of those, that's fine. You can use that to color in all of the black. And rather than waste your time, I'm going to show you my completed image. Here I've done all of the outlining. And it's time for me to cut my project out. All right, when we look at our completed project, we want the animal cut out. So, I find that this aluminum foil gets in my way, and I don't need this. So before I start really worrying about cutting out the animal or the tree, I'm going to cut away the extra. I don't need all this. It gets in my way, and I can just cut it off and get it out of my way. Now, I can slowly take my time and just carefully cut around. Sometimes the foil will tear a little bit, but it doesn't matter. You can flatten it out. You're just going to cut a little bit above that black line so that you're bubble cutting it. Just come right up the trunk. If you accidentally cut a little bit of a branch off or a little bit of this, it doesn't matter. Also, it might get crinkled. So, if the foil gets crinkled up when you're cutting it, all you have to do is lay it down and patiently push it right back out carefully. Now, we're going to continue to cut out our image. So, as you can see, I've cut mine out. And it's kind of crinkled, and I accidentally tore it there a little bit. Not a problem. I'm just going to turn it over, and very gently press down, always pushing out, right? And flatten a little bit. There, it's torn, but that's okay. Here, it's torn at this foot, but when I flatten it, those little tears sort of disappear. Now it's time to take my larger piece of construction paper, and I'm going to lay this down on here. I do not want to glue it down yet because we need to add all those colorful pieces of paper to the background that are going to complement our picture. We're not creating a scene. I'm not cutting out trees from the colored paper or other animals or sunsets. I'm simply exaggerating, complementing, and accentuating what I have done. So, before I do that though, this is a little bit like graphic arts. I want to explain to you what graphic arts are. So, you've probably heard the term before. We all have, I have, but I had to actually look it up because I know what it is, but do I really know exactly what it is? No. So I wanted to explain that to you. We're accustomed to seeing artwork and knowing famous artists in museums, paintings, sculptings, but graphic art is done oftentimes on a computer. It is done to create tiles, architecture, fabric design, logos. It's done in 2D, so it's almost always done on a flat surface, and it's done with tones, so various shades of one or two colors rather than a whole range of colors like paint. So probably the thing that we know the most, we know famous artists like Vincent van Gogh and Pablo Picasso, but actually on a day-to-day basis, we're probably impacted by graphic art more often in the form of logos. And I'll bet you can recognize almost all of these. Obviously, we know Apple, Twitter, Target, Mickey Mouse, sports logos. Even flags are really considered sort of a graphic art or a brand. And the interesting thing to me is that Apple, for example, or Nike can be found anywhere in the world. Hundreds of millions of people know Nike. They speak different languages. They live in different countries, but they're all united. Don't need one word, just by a little swoosh or an apple with a bite out of it. So graphic arts really impact us and we see them day to day. So what we're going to do is on a 2D surface, we're going to create sort of a graphic art background for our animal. And we're going to do that with strips of paper. They can be scraps of your construction paper, or if you can print off some animal prints, that works as well, but it is not necessary. So we're going to come and our foil animal is on our construction paper, and we don't want to glue it down because we want to play with positioning our paper here. Do I want this to go under? Do I want it to go over? Do I want a little here and there? Once I've determined where I want all of my construction paper that's going to not take away from this, because this is my main subject, but it's going to sort of call attention to it, I'm going to glue that down. So instead of wasting your time, here's one I've already done. I'm going to take my glue stick and just very quickly glue along here. You can do a better job. I like this crisscross. And at that intersection, I want a little animal print. Oops. Okay. And then I like things rather plain. So I am going to just put one more little thing down in the corner here. All right. That's all I want to do, and I'll snip that off. Now it's time for me to glue my animal on. I want to glue from the back side, and I want to very carefully always push my glue stick out towards the edge of the foil because, and you're probably smart enough to know this, if I come back in, I'm going to scrunch the foil and wrinkle it and maybe even tear it. So very carefully on these teeny little bits, all the way. And now I can position my foil safari animals, combine it with my graphic art, and very gently. And I'll tell you a little thing that I always like to do. I like to flip it over, and then I can push down really hard, and I don't have to worry about ruining it. So this is a 4th grade project, but again, I think you can do it with anyone in the family. Hopefully you have foil around, scrap construction paper. I'm sure you have scissors and a glue stick, and I am going to count on you to have a lot of fun with this and a good attitude. Thank you so much for joining me today. I miss all the students, whether they're at Lafayette or Stanley or they're my old students. I hope you're all well and happy and healthy. Thank you. Goodbye.